Food should be free. Yeah, I said it. I think a lot of us are so disconnected from the reality of life that we think going to the grocery store with little fruits that are individually labeled with barcodes and scanning them and buying them is some kind of like rational thing. And it's really not, especially now when we have so much technology. I also think the government should be paying for it. So us, basically, our taxes. I'll start here. Hungry people are dangerous people. We all know this. The planet literally provides the food that we need. And that is one thing that is a human right, I believe. Before we used to hunt and gather our own food. But now since the world has been paved over with concrete and terraformed and covered in apartment complexes and strip malls, the fruit trees removed, we don't have to go to stores and buy our food. And that's very, very dystopian to be sitting in a box. Ding, ding, scanning food. I mostly mean like fruits and vegetables, not processed foods because that's a process and that requires a lot of money. But we have money for this. We have technology that can optimize this process. Realistically, if everyone had their own space, they would probably grow their own food and farming wouldn't be a for-profit industry because no one would need the food because they'd already have it. So you couldn't like charge anyone for it. It's very truly sick and bizarre that we've normalized the idea that some people just will not have food because it doesn't benefit anyone in the society. It just causes more crime and angst, something that's not good for happy people, right? I know why the government hasn't stepped in on this yet because this is something that everyone can get behind. Even the people who are like, I don't want the government in my business. I think I can even sell them on this. When I talk about this idea, I know a lot of people will think it's socialism, and I'm not proposing that. I want people to be paid for their work and their creations, right? Like we'd have to pay for the technology that's going to sustain all of this. But the government can pay for that. I mean, we can look into our local police budgets where they have people out doing traffic stops when we already live in a surveillance era, and we don't need police officers sitting on the street watching for traffic. There's cameras everywhere. Just do it that way. Send the tickets and charges to the game. The IRS is wasting lots of money too. Like this weird fraud that the IRS needs like all this money to run the tax system is absolutely absurd. We have robots and machines to do this now, computers. They can literally just send you guys the bill. Like this is what you owe. If you want to argue it, send us something back and we'll argue it. That's a way to cut expenditure as well. We are sending money to all these other countries too, so there's really no excuse for this not being a thing. The only excuse is that you need to work for food, and I think that they think that we need this to motivate us so we don't starve, and that's true. A lot of people do need it. I also think as a society we're afraid to give people free things because then like, what if there's people just sitting around on the streets because they're well fed? Yeah, what if there is? What then? I think we need like some major drastic changes in our society, and it's going to look very different when we start to get where we're going, and we have to accept that as part of the sacrifice of moving into a better place, no? I think the opposite will happen. I think once everyone's fed, that sort of like global angst that's surrounding us all, or just in our country, because that's all we can handle right now, will be relieved and our minds will be free to conquer other problems, not just daily survival, something that we should have outlived doing this a long time ago. Like what did we advance so far for? Just to be back here again, where people are struggling and hungry. But the real question is, are we afraid to have equality? Because I think a lot of us like to be supreme over each other. And this is a huge problem. I don't know if most of us can determine our own value from within. And we need these things to hold over each other.